What's going on, baseball fans? Jeremy Laracuente here for the Baseball Banter Broadcast. And on this broadcast, we are going to be bringing you our weekly dissection of Major League Baseball with our countdown 3 up and 3 down. So if you're new to the channel and you don't know what this is, we're looking at 3 teams that are playing well, 3 teams that aren't, and 1 team to be on the lookout for. So we're going to get into it with the first up. Now, the first up is the Los Angeles Dodgers. When you look at the Dodgers, they have an overall record of 23-15. They're 8-2 over their last 10 games. They are riding a 2-game winning streak, and they're plus 48 in the run differential column. Right now, they have a 3-game lead in the National League West Division. Now, what makes that so significant is that there was some competition so far early on in the season that the Dodgers did not necessarily start to play the way that they are capable of, the way that we know them to be as the juggernaut of this division. But they have since really turned it on and started to put themselves in a position where they look like the Dodgers of old, the Dodgers that we know them to be over the last several seasons. Now, obviously, Dodgers fans are still very weary, as the regular season Dodgers and the postseason Dodgers are a very different entity. But the way that things are looking right now, this is definitely a positive sign for the Los Angeles Dodgers, and that's what makes them up on one of the teams on the upward. Now, the first down is a team that was playing extremely well, but now has started to regress and stumbled a bit and started to look more like the team that they were expected to be, and that's the Pittsburgh Pirates. Over their last 10 games, the Pirates are 9-1. They have now fallen to just plus 10 in the run differential column. They're riding a 2-game losing streak, and while they are still above 500 at 21-17, their lead in the division has all but withered away. This is a team that was absolutely going on an impressive run and something that was truly unexpected. But while the Pirates, in my opinion, aren't a team that necessarily is a team that will go 1-9 for the rest of the way in terms of the season and their record, this wasn't a team that was bolstering and blistering the way that they were through the first couple of weeks. So this is a team that is going to be more of a 500 ball club, in my opinion, maybe a little below 500 with some of the veteran talent that they have now on this squad, keeping them in and around that range. But overall, I think that it was a nice little run by Pittsburgh, and I think that they are going to regress back to the pack a bit. So they are, again, 1-9 over their last 10 games. And this is where we start to see whether or not this team can rebound and try to get back more towards respectability, or if they're going to continue to falter. Now, the second up is the Boston Red Sox. At an overall record of 22-16, Boston has been playing incredible baseball over the last 10 games. They're 8-2. They're plus 22 in the run differential column. And this is a team that many people did not expect to be able to do well this season. They expected them to be a last place team. And yet they've come out and they've been able to kind of push the naysayers aside and really start to put their best foot forward. I think that for Boston, it is going to be a long season. Obviously, they're in an incredibly difficult and tough division, as the American League East is the only division where all 5 teams are not just over 500, but are all over 20 wins. And that's going to be an incredibly difficult battle all season long. But I think for Boston, what they've been able to do is really be able to put themselves in a position where they're playing as a team, relying on one another, and it served them well, especially over these last 10 games. Now, the second down is the Milwaukee Brewers. While Milwaukee, just like Pittsburgh, is still in a plus situation when it comes to their record at 20-17, they're half a game behind the Pittsburgh Pirates in first place, but they are faltering. Over their last 10 games, they're 2-8. They're only now plus 12 in the run differential column, and it's really allowed the Cubs to really creep up on them in that third spot in the National League Central Division. It's going to be a difficult battle for this division, as I think that all of these teams are very, very close in the way that they're set up. But For Milwaukee, they were really supposed to be built on pitching, and that has started to wither on them, dealing with injuries and inconsistency. And I think that for Milwaukee, if they can get their pitchers back and healthy and start to get some of these position players to really start to come back into their own, start playing towards the back of their baseball card, they'll definitely be able to get back into a position of prominence. But over their last 10 games, they have not been the same level of team, and that's why they find themselves on this list heading down. Now, one such team that is heading in the opposite direction, and that is the Colorado Rockies. While Colorado is, yes, in the negative position in terms of run differential at -27, they're in a negative position in terms of their overall record at 16-22. Over their last 10 games, they are 8-2, tying them with the Red Sox and the Dodgers in that mark with the best records over that 10-game stretch. There's no doubt about it that Colorado has been an absolute conundrum. You don't know what direction they're headed. I don't think that they know what direction they're headed in terms of their team. But you have to give them credit where credit is due, and over their last 10 games, they have been playing extremely well. And being able to play 800 baseball over any stretch of the season is a positive mark and something that you can build towards as a team. And I think that for the Colorado Rockies, this is a stretch that they really want to hold on to and continue to try to push and put this team back into a position where they may be competing for a third wild card spot. Now, yes, they are last place in the division. Yes, they are under 500 in terms of their overall record. They are in the negative in the run differential column. But if you can start to compound these good feelings, these good weeks, and you start to put them together, they can really start to turn around the feeling of the ball club and maybe start to put together a direction for the front office. Because clearly, in my opinion, there's no direction right now from the front office. They have no idea what they're doing. And if the team on the field can start to put things together in a way that forces the hand of the front office and ownership, that would be a positive thing for the Colorado Rockies. Now, as we get into the third down, it is the Oakland Athletics. I think that this is going to be a team that finds themselves consistently on the down part of this 3-up, 3-down list. When you look at their last 10 games, Oakland is not faring well. They are 2-8 over their last 10. They're riding a 5-game losing streak. But what is most significant about the way that the Oakland A's are playing right now, not only do they look like a team that doesn't even belong in AAA, let alone the major leagues, they are losing and being defeated in terms of run scoring differential at a historic pace. At the time of this recording and the corresponding article being written on LaracuenteLedger.com, they are negative 146 runs in the run differential column. This is historic for a team 40 games into the season, and they're on pace to really lose more games than any team in the modern era, including the 1962 Mets, who only won 40 games. To me, the biggest question is how the A's have won 8 games thus far with an overall record of 8-31. But no doubt about it, this has been an absolute struggle for the Oakland A's, not only in the way that the on-field team is playing, but the fact that ownership is moving them to Las Vegas. They're losing their team. This is a difficult season, and I don't blame fans for being angry and upset. It is something that is definitely not something you want to see from your organization, from your team, especially when there is no reason why ownership couldn't be putting more and investing more into this team, and really based on the way that the mayor of Oakland felt that the team did not operate in good faith to try to work a deal out to be able to keep the team in Oakland. There's a lot of negative surrounding this team right now, and their continued play on the field just continues to add to that down feeling. And as we round out this list, as we do, looking at one team to be on the lookout for, it is the Seattle Mariners. When you look at the Mariners, right now they are in the negative in terms of overall record. They're under 500 at 18-19. But over their last 10 games, they're 7-3. They're now plus 14 in the run differential column. And obviously, they're in the same division as Oakland, so they're not going to finish in last place. But this is a team that it really has much higher aspirations. as they ended the longest postseason drought of 21 years that was active up until last season for them. And this is a team that wants to get back to the postseason. They want to make a more extended run in the postseason. And I think that they have the talent to be able to do so. I think obviously the way that things have kind of fallen out throughout the course of this season, it's a little bit different for them, a little bit more difficult, as Texas has been playing extremely well. The Angels are extremely hungry because they want to keep Shohei in house, and obviously the Astros are the juggernaut that they are. And so it's going to be a much more competitive division for Seattle, but I think that they have the players to be able to facilitate a winning brand of baseball. And I think that this last 10-game stretch where they're 7-3 has really started to put the right foot forward and put the Mariners in the position where they can truly be a competitive team. But I want to hear from you, baseball fans. Let me know your thoughts, your feelings down in the comment section below. Who are your three teams heading up, your three teams heading down, and your team to be on the lookout for is as we head into week 8 of Major League Baseball's 2023 season? Let me know that down in the comments, or find me over on Twitter at @banter_baseball, and we can keep the conversation rolling. If you want to see more from us, we have our social media channels on Instagram and TikTok, as well as Twitter. If you want to find us on Instagram and TikTok, it is at Baseball Banter Broadcast. Again, there's a corresponding article up on LaracuenteLedger.com about this very countdown, so links are in the show notes below. And if you want to find and support us more here, we have our merchandise shop, BaseballBanterBroadcast.com, in which we have a ton of merch up and a ton of promo codes you can use to save on that merchandise. If you're listening to this on your favorite podcast listening platform, I want to thank you for tuning in this week. Make sure you leave a 5-star rating review, as it does truly help us continue to move and grow up the rankings, which allows us to continue bringing the Baseball Banter broadcast to a much wider audience. If you're checking us out here on YouTube, then hit the subscribe button and the bell for post notifications if you haven't already done so, because again, we are trying to continue building and growing this baseball community here. So I want to thank you for tuning in, and keep it locked in, as on the next broadcast we continue to banter about baseball. Peace.